Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome back to our the first panel discussion for the day, which is an interesting panel discussion: Industry 4.0, the journey to manufacturing excellence. For this panel, I would like to welcome the panelists. I would like to welcome the panelists. So, I would like to welcome Mr. V. Ranganathan Iyer, Group Chief Information Officer, JBM Group. Welcome, sir. I would like to welcome Mr. Rajesh Datta, Chief Information Officer, Usha Martin Limited.
Hi. Hi.
Thank you, sir, for joining. And I would like to welcome Mr. Abhishek Chakrabarti, Chief Digital and IT Officer, Vedanta Limited, Aluminium Business. Welcome, sir. And I would like to welcome Dr. Makaran Sawant, Senior General Manager, IT, Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemicals Corporation. Welcome, sir. And
Hello.
also, I would like to welcome the moderator for the panel, Rashi Aditi Ghosh, Assistant Editor, Elets Technomedia. Welcome, Rashi. It's over to you.
Thank you so much, Nishant, for the warm welcome, and I welcome you all to this panel discussion, which I believe would be insightful as we have experienced experts from across the manufacturing industry who have joined us today for this panel discussion, which is titled as Industry 4.0, The Journey to Manufacturing Excellence. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today for this panel discussion. I welcome you on board for this discussion. Uh, to begin with, we all know that technology and digital transformation has a greater influence in the recent past with the outbreak of corona pandemic, which is somehow compelling every industry to transform itself and to ensure continuity and to maintain resilience. And Industry 4.0 is acting as a important significant agent in maintaining that balance between technology and operations, especially in the manufacturing industry. And today we are going to discuss on this topic and find out the trends and the important developments that are helping the sector in particular in progressing ahead. So, to begin with, the first question to the panels for today's discussion would be how do you think the Industry 4.0 has changed the manufacturing sector in particular? Because its impression across the industry is high. So, I would like to know it from Mr. Rajesh. How would you like to share your point of view in this regard?
Yeah. So basically, Industry 4.0, it's acting like a game changer in terms of manufacturing setups are concerned. So the ways of working has changed, and to gain the operational efficiency across the entire value chain in terms of production line to sales to supply chain, all these areas. Since in Industry 4.0, everything is connected, so you get the real time data. So the entire value chain becomes very very vigilant, and obviously post pandemic there are a lot of cost pressure that is there for the industry. So that can be minimized and optimized using this Industry 4.0. Although I would say that this is a journey, and it takes a lot of time to implement the entire value chain in terms of Industry 4.0. So it's a game changer, and also that I would like to say the other side of it in terms of adoption of those technology disruption that we actually putting in this sector. So adoption becomes the biggest challenge going forward also. But at the end of the day, to make to be available and relevant in the market in terms of selling the products and producing the goods. Basically, these are all man, machines, and the materials. These are the three factors that are very important in manufacturing industry. So how do we connect it? So these are all parameters that will actually lay the foundation for this Industry 4.0.
Thank you so much for sharing your view, Mr. Datta. Yes, of course, we all are reinventing ourselves. So, Mr. Abhishek, would you like to share your views in this regard? How do you see that Industry 4.0 in particular has helped the manufacturing industry?
Yeah, sure. Um, Actually, Industry 4.0 technology helps you to manage and optimize all aspects of your manufacturing processes and supply chain. So it gives you access to the real-time data and insights you to view all the data things. Okay, and it gives you access to all the real-time data and the insights also to that meet your to be the more smarter, faster, and decision-making things, which can ultimately boost the efficiency and the profitability of your entire organization. Okay. If you go through few records, then you find some significant business improvement opportunities in manufacturing processing. Okay. It was found that when the recordables are less, then your security incidents are less. When the utilizations is higher, then the operative cost will also go down. When the availability is higher, then the maintenance cost is also less. And when you consume less energy, then your carbon emission is also less. So with this, if you do the root cause analysis, you find the losses because of mainly the three things. First is availability, second is the performance, and third is the quality. So in availability, there may be the unplanned loss or the planned loss. In performance, maybe the minor stoppage or the slow cycle. And in quality, there may be the quality rejection or the startup rejection. So all the factors are contributing the loss of the production. So if we evaluate the main reason, then we find the two main levers. If we improve, then these losses can be reduced. So one is increase the efficiency of your existing machine, and the other is a less manual intervention. So those are the main two reasons. So with this scenario, when you check this, and if you see what is available with you, then you find there are few things that is available with you. One is that data in the systems, then the higher computation power and improve communication. So this will give birth the concept of this Industry 4.0. After its introduction, it shows the tremendous amount of improvement in manufacturing. Today, if you see, the most of the CEOs are investing in a digital transformation. Either they are building to take the technology or they're building the capability to make the company digital enabled. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chakravarti, for your views. Yes, of course, communication is a it's playing a very important role and helping is acting as one of the major catalysts in ensuring digital transformation across industry, especially if we talk about manufacturing and digital transformation industry 4.0 is experts are in the opinion that it is somehow not just acting as a way to ensure continuity, but it is also helping them move ahead in the competition, staying connected with their customers better, and staying at least digitally ready when everything is uncertain, when we don't know when the next wave is going to hit us, which news updates are actually predicting on. So moving on, I would now request Mr. Sawant to share his views on how does he think the industry 4.0 has changed manufacturing sector, especially during the pandemic scenario.
Yeah, so Industry 4.0 basically brings in a lot of capabilities for automation and for intelligent operations. So, specifically speaking about Industry 4.0 journey during the pandemic, uh, the manufacturing sector has realized that what is the importance of automation. So if we have automated processes, then there is lesser dependency on physical presence of manpower, and that is where the operations can be streamlined and seamlessly executed, even if there are situations like pandemic that we have seen in the past 1.5 years. So if we are adopting practices of Industry 4.0, we are putting in intelligent solutions for plant automation, then this is a very clear benefit that how operations can continue without manual intervention, and such situations can be handled in a better way. And the other advantages of Industry 4.0 is that it directly impacts the KPIs like OE, OP, and quality. So if we are controlling the entire process of manufacturing with intelligent systems, and we get the real-time data, we get the historical data to do lot of in-detailed analysis and provide a solution quickly to any problem that is seen during the production cycle. And that is where the key advantage of Industry 4.0 is, that we can take faster decisions, timely actions, and we can reduce any kind of unplanned downtime. And even in terms of predictive maintenance, we can improve the quality and life of the critical equipments if we are adopting solutions like condition based monitoring or predictive analytics for predictive maintenance. So overall, if we see the journey of Industry 4.0 has speeded up during the pandemic, so manufacturing sector is now very actively looking at uh, getting into the maturity level of Industry 4.0 and trying to adopt whatever automations they can do quickly in terms of mitigating the risk of what they have seen in the pandemic situation.
Absolutely. You spoke about a lot of things that are impractical, that are helping the sector. Automation, less manual intervention. Yes, of course, because that is now a part of everybody's life. So, Mister, and especially the manufacturing sector, which is touching a lot of people. Mister Iyer, how would you like to define this? What's your view?
See, predictive. Thanks for the opportunity. Many have spoken about predictive, and the important missing link is how we are going to use video analytics. That is going to play a vital role over and above whatever our colleagues have clearly mentioned. Number two, how we are using technology, Industry 4.0, for all pilferages, like all consumable related, when we are trying to collect the data and then doing analytics over that, we are in a position to understand and identify what are the pilferages which is happening, so that we can save some money on that. The third important factor is the hidden downtime. There are two kinds of downtime where machine is not working, that everyone knows. But there is a hidden downtime. For example, in between more than 2 minutes, how many times the machine was not running. Those are all the facts which we were not aware of earlier. Now we are in a position to capture. We are not going to bother that if any machine is not producing for less than 2 minutes, okay. More than 2 minutes, which is not identified by our production people, that is really a very good value addition with respect to the supply chain whole process. And IoT has enabled and eliminated preventive. If we are going to have condition based monitoring, it means preventive for future will get eliminated in the whole process, which I feel is practically possible. Why? Because the condition based monitoring and then predictive with the data which we have is going to help us in many ways. Over and above, many process, machine, man, material related improvements which we could not think. But the visual analytics has helped us increasing the customer satisfaction to the larger extent, because we have eliminated manual post production quality parameters of more than 40 different kinds of things automated through visual analytics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raya, for talking about visual analytics. Yes, predictive analytics, visual analytics. It's that's we are talking about the future readiness is something that has to be there across sectors, and manufacturing is definitely doing it with the help of Industry 4.0 already in function. So moving ahead, the next question for today's discussion would be: what are the key factors that can help achieve the vision of a progressive and digitally powered powered manufacturing sector. So we all were talking about Industry 4.0, and we have also spoken about the technologies that are helping us in the sector. Mr. Sawant, would you like to share your views here? That how do you think? What are the key factors that are actually helping you, in getting a progressive and digitally powered manufacturing sector?
Yeah, so the key aspects of Industry 4.0, as I said, that it is directly impacting the KPIs like OE, OP, and quality. So overall, bringing in efficiency in the process of manufacturing, capturing the actual losses that are happening during the manufacturing processes, and also getting insights on the specific consumptions of your raw material is something which is very interesting, and it is giving direct benefits to the manufacturers, because once you have a good control on the entire process of manufacturing and you are able to increase the efficiency, reduce the losses, that means it is going to be more profitable in terms of the overall cost of production, and that is going to impact the bottom line straight away. So most of the use cases in Industry 4.0 are targeting to get benefits at the bottom line, and it will also overall reduce the overheads and cost of production. So these are very key factors for any manufacturing company to get the benefits through such kind of interventions of automation and Industry 4.0. And with the increasing maturity level of the journey of Industry 4.0, organizations will see that the benefits are even beyond that. So it will also impact on the overall efficiency of the resources, the manpower that we have. So there would be a lot of value add that can come from the resources, because they will not have to spend time in the routine maintenance or firefighting in the plants. They would rather put more time in terms of how we can improve
Productivity.
the overall quality of the product, or improve the yield and the process of manufacturing. So these are very key aspects of Industry 4.0 that we foresee is a strategic initiative, and any manufacturing organization will see those benefits in the coming years, as and when they mature over the implementations of Industry 4.0.
Very, very rightly said, Mr. Savan, that with the increasing level of maturity with the in the usage of Industry 4.0, we are getting to know a lot of things that will help us in the next few years, especially during the uncertain times. So, Mr. Datta, would you like to share your views here?
See, this Industry 4.0 implementation will basically bring the manufacturing community closer to the customers. The customers' insight can be easily, can be seen or captured, and accordingly, the adjustment can be made in terms of your productivity and production processes and all that. So basically, the entire game is with data only. Okay, so and also as my other colleagues have also mentioned that using big data analytics and other tools, we can get insights from end to end. Right from your production process to sales, entire value chain can be integrated. Okay, so this is what is going to come in, and the adoption could be in a partial way also, because this is a journey. Okay, and it's and if somebody embarks for Industry 4.0, it has to be in phase wise manner as it deems fit to be. Okay, so this is what is the entire value chain and proposition in terms of Industry 4.0. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your views, Mr. Datta. So, moving ahead, my question would be, how can manufacturing organizations themselves leverage some of the new exponential technologies to start looking to compute at the global stage? So, now, the question is towards the global stage and benchmarking. So, Mr. Chakraborty, would you like to answer this for us?
Yes, yes, sure. Actually, the few things are there. Uh, First is coming actually robotics. Okay, with the advances in the robotics technology, robots are more likely to become the cheaper, smarter, and the more efficient. Then you can see that 3D printings, the automotive industry has been already adopted this. In spare and replacement parts, it is using extensively. In aerospace also, it is a very important nowadays. Next will be the augmented reality that creates a unique customer experience that blend the best of digital and the physical worlds. There's the 5G. It provides fast and the furious speed. It also accelerates the evolution of the IoT devices also. Then you can say that big data analytics helps the businesses to get the insights from today's huge data resources. People, organizations, and machines now produce massive amount of data. Then you can say that cloud computing. Cloud computing is a on-demand availability of the computer system resources, especially data storage. So those are the few levers. Those needs to be adopted to be a global leader in the digitalization.
Very rightly said. Cloud computing, in times when migration of data is significant, and you have to, like, during the lockdown when everything went on a spin, and we have to complete the migration within 15 days and get back to work. So, cloud computing, artificial intelligence is definitely going to add a lot of value and support to the manufacturing sector in particular. Mr. Iyer, would you like to share your views here? What do you think?
See, over and above, if you want to be a global player, the important factor is how quickly you adapt to the changes, the agile process. Whatever our co-panelists have said is okay, but how agile you are, because the time to provide resolution or time to fix an issue or time to provide a solution to the business problem, that counts very important factor into that. That is going to play a vital role over and above different technologies we are going to use, the kind of resources with right kind of knowledge, which is going to help us making the solution more agile is very important over and above what has been said, which I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iyer. Yes, agility is definitely important because deployment experts definitely suggest is pivotal. But along with that, the fitment and the practicality of its practicality at the operational level is also very important. Very rightly mentioned by Mr. Iyer. So, moving ahead. The next question for today's discussion would be, in the post pandemic scenario, how do you see opportunities for the manufacturing sector going forward, and how to achieve a sustainable and profitable manufacturing business now? So, Mr. Datta, would you like to share your views here?
Yeah, so the post-pandemic, the situation is a bit different. Right from your remote connectivity of your end customers, and also digitization of your entire value chain from production to the sales, that has to be adopted as one of my colleague was already mentioning that, and using that right kind of technology, and the adoption, and also maintaining those skill set also, because nowadays what has happened is, if you see cloud adoption which has happened, started happening in India for last 4 or 5 years, has picked up. Similarly, I foresee that industry 4.0 post pandemic scenario, it is going to pick up. Okay, maybe people are going to adopt this to get the value out of it. Okay, so basically these are the factors that's going to come in the next coming days.
Yes. So, thank you for your views, Mr. Datta. Mr. Sawant, would you like to share your views here?
Yeah, so post pandemic, definitely organizations will carry on with the momentum of the Industry 4.0 implementation. Now, many of the organizations have started this journey in the pandemic situations, looking at the challenges that they have seen, which they never faced earlier. So, this was a learning for all the organizations. So, whatever implementations have been undergoing right now, most of the organizations are looking at an holistic view. They are trying to put a proper roadmap of Industry 4.0 as a strategic initiative for the organization. So there are roadmaps getting planned, which are 2 years, 3 years kind of implementation roadmaps, and in phases, the production processes, the overall facility of production, the complex has to be modernized for getting equipped with Industry 4.0. And at the same time, lot of skill sets would be required to adopt these new technologies. So parallelly, the upgradation of skill sets of the employees who are handling key processes would be also required. So
Correct.
there would be a journey of technology advancement as well as upskilling of the skill sets of the employees. So
Correct.
these are two key pillars of the Industry 4.0 journey, and this has to be embarked. Many of the organizations have already started initiatives around this, and there are plans to put in place and execute as a strategic initiative for the organizations.
Yes, so you spoke about digital future readiness. Starting from employee readiness to technology skill readiness to other things. So, moving ahead, Mr. Abhishek, would you like to share your views? What opportunities do you think the pandemic has brought in for the manufacturing sector in particular, and what do you want to share about sustainability and profitability?
Yes, actually, recently that industrial digitalization faced its biggest test. Okay, confronted with the largest health and economic crisis in the recent history. So companies across sectors were forced to take the measures to protect their people and sustain their operation. Right. So while some struggle with keeping the operations running is the phase of shortage of the workers or the raw materials. So there may be the three outcomes. Okay. The firstly is a win for those companies who have already scaled digital technologies. Secondly, a reality check for those that are still scaling. And lastly, the wake-up call for those that hadn't started their journey, digitalization journey. So there is a clear win for the early adopters. So companies that had scaled Industry 4.0 use cases prior to the COVID-19 found themselves better positioned to respond to this crisis. Just giving one example for better understanding, like consumer packaged goods company in Asia had built a digital twin of its supply chain before COVID-19. It was able to use that to run the multiple scenarios during the pandemic, preparing itself for sudden shutdowns of manufacturing locations or the disruptions in the raw material supply. On the other side of the globe, a PP manufacturer in North America, in the process of increasing its capacity by installing a raw in a new manufacturing line and able to commissioning the line using the augmented reality-based remote assistant for the project execution. So, company whose Industry 4.0 implementation is more mature report stronger ability to respond to crisis. By witnessing this fact, the industry leaders started to adopt the new technologies to overcome these pandemic impacts. So there is a complete shift of strategy. It's reshaping the entire
So
scenario. So, with the spread of this pandemic, almost all the regions have implemented the lockdowns, shutting down the activities that require human gathering and the interactions. The lockdown resulted in the most of the people taking to the internet and internet-based service to communicate each other. So, the internet services have seen rises in the usage. So
একটু
digital
ওই
transformation
সুজিত ঘোষের
technology
সঙ্গে
such
কথা
as
বলুন,
this
ওখানে বসে আমি একটা কলে
cloud,
আছি।
IoT, artificial intelligence constitute a bulk of what is being adopted by organization as part of their transformation effort. The manufacturing sector will greatly benefit from the continuous adoption of the advanced technologies. Many fear the implication of these development on job opportunity. But I firmly believe the industry has so much to gain from this AI and IoT, and in fact, they will increase the number of manufacturing jobs available. Ultimately, it provides a win-win scenario. Yeah, thanks.
So you define it to be a win-win scenario and suggest that technology will definitely add on to more employment, especially during the uncertain times. Thank you, Mr. Chakraborty. Moving ahead, Mr. Raya, would you like to share your views here? What opportunities do you think the pandemic has brought in?
See, pandemic, as far as manufacturing is concerned, it is clear they have alternate way of working for the problems they are facing. Number one, when machine is down, we had the habit of calling the engineer to the workplace and then get it. During the pandemic, we have seen, we have transported the data from SCADA, collected the data, and then sent it to company who was responsible. He is suggesting us what to do using teams. We were in a position to have a discussion, and then we could resolve the machine related issues remote. The learning is remote maintenance is possible, and it was successful. That's number one. Number two, cross learning across different. We have 50 plants. For example, if I have some improvement processes happened in one of my plants, the cross learning was happening earlier. We used to send people from one plant to another. Now we had the opportunity of making videos and then consuming it right, because they are also forced to think different. The third advantage was the customer. Customer wanted to have the faith that what we wanted is being produced in the respective plant. That is also one of the thing, and that was also possible using the available infrastructure. The fourth important, which is rather more crucial, is how we are going to. They started thinking beyond, because in IoT, in most of the cases, we are collecting data from machine and taking insight from the data which is collected, doing using analytics, and then we are drawing out results, and then we are taking corrective actions. What they wanted is, for example, if one line is performing really good for this particular product, if the same product is being produced in another line in another plant, will it be possible for us to take the parameters which we are running with the high efficiency can be copied onto that? That is the future, but they started thinking on those lines. They don't want to stay themselves only on doing analytics and then taking corrective actions. They wanted to use how efficiently this is working, how I can replicate in other places instead of manually modifying the parameters. Will it be possible for us to write it back? Today, the industry 4.0 is not ready to write back into the respective machines, so that people have started thinking big and thinking sensible, and practically, yes, it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your views. So, now towards technology, and we already spoke at length about artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. And we all know that during the pandemic, but of course, the digitization has helped us, but there were few challenges as well. So, my question to the panelists would be, do you think Internet of Things or other emerging technologies, disruptive technologies, are helping the manufacturing in connecting the manufacturing value chain? Are they really helping the manufacturing sector amid the challenges, or do you think there is a challenge in the implementation, and it is not the all that we want? There's something else that we also want along with technology. So my question would be to Mr. Datta.
Yeah, so challenges will always be there in a implementation kind of scenario like Industry 4.0 implementation using IoT or any other technology that we put. Challenge will be there. Well, in Indian scenario, if I context, I say the infrastructure side, it's not yet fully ready in certain places, right? So their challenges becomes much higher in that case in terms of getting the correct bandwidth or getting infrastructure ready. uh, those challenges are there because the plants are mostly in the remote areas, right? And when you actually implement this kind of journey or so the data generations becomes very high, and putting those data in the correct way and then transporting this data to the correct cloud containers, that is itself becomes a challenging part. So from architectural standpoint, we have to be very clear where we want to put your data in the entire journey, right? So I would say that challenges are there, but yes, there are ways and means to overcome that, and that is what is would be the scenario going forward. Yeah,
So the show, as in the show, must go on, and we have to overcome the challenge.
correct.
That's the part and parcel of life. Thank you, Mr. Datta, for the positive note. So moving ahead, Mr. Raya, would you like to share your view? Do you think IoT is supportive and is the only sole responsible for fighting the challenges?
See, challenge number one is generation of too much of data. That's number one. Number two, what is more meaningful data? Out of that, how we are going to identify. Number two. Number three, because of this problem, we emerged edge also as comes into place. Although we have not really used it to its potential, we are in the process of adapting it. Number three, as I said earlier, how we are going to take the data both ways. The problem number four, because I am collecting the data and will I be in a position to write it back, the one which I said earlier. The important factor which is essential is we should not be over ambitious when we are trying to do anything. This is also a challenge because when we started tasting small success, we I'm talking about the manufacturing people. They started thinking very big. I'm not telling that thinking very big is not, it is right, but it should be broken down to achievable milestones. Otherwise, we will end up because there is a cost factor which is embedded into that. Although it is not as costly as it was 5 years back, but it is also not cost effective because certain things which are not available we have to incorporate using some of the sensors or maybe some of the hardwares we have to incorporate because in certain businesses we had a very big legacy. So we have to see what we should think, we should plan for, and what also it is important what we should not consider.
Mm.
That is important. Over and above, we have to start thinking on retiring of data because if we are going to start thinking today, maybe in another 2 to 3 years' time, we will be in a position to. Otherwise, we will having a piles of data and making the IT infrastructure team not in a position to manage that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very important point made here that we will also have to think that the amount of data that is generated has to be managed properly, and the IT team is skilled or managed well to handle future challenges and practicality of each and every deployment as per the type of business is something which has to be kept in mind by every leader in the industry. So Mr. Savant, would you like to share your point here? Do you think the IoT is helping and the sole responsible for eliminating the challenges across the industry?
So I think IoT as a technology may be able to help in lot of ways, but I think the biggest challenge is the culture aspect of the organization. So as long as the cultural shift is possible, and there are the management and the resources are able to adopt the new ways of working and the new methodologies that needs to be implemented in the manufacturing process itself. So if that is adopted, I think that is the biggest win there, because that is one biggest challenge that I foresee in terms of implementing and getting the benefits out of such interventions and advanced technologies. Because if the adoption is not to the optimum level, then the investments done behind the implementation of the technology may not give the expected ROIs, and that may in somewhere put the organization at the back foot, because they are investing into something and not getting the benefits. Then the further journey of that implementation is also automatically slowed down. So the first and foremost thing is to manage the change across the value chain and see how we quickly we can adopt the newer technologies, how we can make a better impact by adoption of these technologies on the existing operations.
Right. So managing the change and the level of adaptability has to be kept in mind, as suggested by Mr. Savan. Mr. Chakraborty, you already spoke at length about IoT and artificial intelligence. If you want to know your views on the level of challenges intervention it is helping in dealing with, how do you suggest?
Yeah, I think all the challenges there that is already been discussed. Okay, but to be very honest, so many of the advantages like this higher accuracy, improved flexibility, better segmentation, increased efficiency, those actually makes all the challenges to overcome. Now, with the help of the 5G technologies, the data transmission actually it is much more faster. With the help of this AI and all the challenges of data integration and data segregation is now been done. So it is the challenges are there, but we are in the stage of overcome all the challenges and take the essence and take the taste of all the IoT devices. That's all from my end.
Yeah, for the to share the positive note here, that yes, challenges will be there. We will have to overcome them. Keep working. That's what human life is all about. And being the leaders, I think that's also one of the significant mantras that is helping your teams to work and move ahead during the uncertain times, because leaders are a source of inspiration to all of us. And thank you for maintaining that level of innovation and inspiration for all of us. So with this, I think we are coming to an end to this panel discussion. So thank you so much, experts, for your time and the views you brought on table today, and helped us in understanding how Industry 4.0 in particular is helping the manufacturing sector. So over to you, Mr. Nishant Kutti, for the next level of proceedings.
Sure, sure, Rashi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rashi, for the wonderful moderation. Thank you, panelists, for the interesting discussion that we had. There were some great insights on how the Industry 4.0 changed the manufacturing sector, and how we achieve, the digitally powered manufacturing sector as well. So, and also on the IoT part, it was great discussion. And as a token of appreciation, Elets Technomedia would like to hand over the certificates to all the speakers who have joined us today. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. V. Ranganathan Iyer, Group Chief Information Officer, JBM Group. Thank you, sir, for joining us and sharing the insight. Yes, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Rajesh Mehta, Chief Information Officer, Usha Martin Limited. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Yes, thank you, Mr. Abhishek Chakrabarti, Chief Digital and IT Officer, Vedanta Limited Aluminium Business. Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Makaran Sawan, Senior General Manager, IT, Deepak Fertilizers and Petrochemicals Corporation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir,
Thank
for
you,
joining.
Nishant. Thank you,
Thank you.
Rashi.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So
Thanks.
now we
Thanks.
are
Thank you,
ending
Thanks a
our.
everyone,
lot.
for your
Thank
time.
you very much.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Sure. Now the recording is closed for the panel, and as we maybe my colleague Rehan would have already communicated to you with regards to about 15 seconds of video clip from each of the speakers. Um, so whomever is ready, so it is you can just say a little bit about the event and the experience about the panel discussion. So who wants to go first? Rest of them will be on the backstage. Yes, can we have Mr. Veerendranath Nair on the screen, please?
Thanks, Elets, for the opportunity. It was really very good session, and I should thank the co-panelists also to give more insights where I could take some very great input for improvements. Thanks for the opportunity. Bye.
Thank you, sir. So, and can we have Mr. Abhishek Chakrabarti sharing a few words about the event?
Yeah, thank you, Elets Technomedia, for the opportunity given to me to join this virtual manufacturing CIO summit, to share my views and perspective, and to learn best practices from the colleagues from the manufacturing sector. It's a great honor to receive this felicitation from the Elets Technomedia. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think that's all we have. Dr. Makaran Sawan, I'm not sure. I was advised that your organization doesn't allow to share some video clippings, so that's absolutely fine with us. So thank you very much, all the speakers, for sharing it, for supporting us, and sharing the valuable insights to us. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.